We are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the much awaited Socratic Dialogue, the young altruistic CEO Socratic Dialogue. In the last year, Deep Thought had organized 33 Socratic Dialogues. We had young CTO dialogue, young CXO dialogue, young CPO dialogue, young CSO dialogue, young CRO dialogue, young CAO dialogue, and so on. Students were getting to experience various functions of a business. But today is the most awaited most awaited event where we're going to put all those jigsaw pieces together to see how would you run your company if you're the CEO. So on that note, I would like to request Team Ratan Tata to go ahead with your introductions.
Hi everyone, my name is Satya. I study in grade 6 and I'm from Team Ratan Tata.
Hi everyone, my name is Drishank. I study in grade 6 and I'm from Team Ratan Tata.
Hi everyone, I am Neha and I study in 8th and I am from Team Ratan Tata.
Okay, thank you. So now I request Team Bombay Scottish to go ahead with your introductions.
Hello everyone, my name is Arav Sahani. I study in 7th grade and I am part of Team Bombay.
Hello everyone, my name is Ishan Bashish. I study in grade 7 and I'm in Bombay Scottish team.
Hi everyone, my name is Aryan. I am from grade 6 and I am in Team Bombay Scottish.
Okay. Thank you, Team Bombay Scottish. We now request the jurors to go ahead with your introductions. If one of you wants to go ahead first.
I'll go first. Okay, please.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Anil, and I'm excited to listen to all the dialogues here today. And by the way, I'm the first Chief Philosophy Officer. So it's nice to see so many young faces going for that also. Cool.
Hi guys, I'm Suraj Juneja. I'm the founder at Free Flow Venture Builders. We're in Startup Accelerator, and lovely to see you young budding students, entrepreneurs right here, and waiting to see what you all have in store. Sorry, for some reasons I can't have the video on right now. I'm in between driving, so but hearing all you guys and waiting for the entire thing to begin. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you, Suraj.
Hi guys, my name is Rohan Turior. I'm the founding partner of IPS, more of an IP attorney, and I am deeply involved in design thinking, trends and stuff like that. Really interested in joining this dialogue today. Look forward to hearing some intriguing thoughts from you guys. So really excited about this channel. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Rohan. Hope you'll have fun today.
Yeah.
I request Sriparna and Doel to go ahead with your introductions.
Hello, I'm Sriparna. I am from the Product Research Lab of Deep Thought.
Hello everybody, I am Doel Mishra. I work as a Product Research Fellow in Deep Thought, and all the best guys. And welcome the jury members.
And I'm Tarun. I'll be your moderator for the day, and I hope we'll have some good conversations. On that note, question for discussion one. We have Team Bombay Scottish here, and they'll be responding to this question. You are asked to take over as the CEO of a values-driven company. So you have a company which has a strong value system. All the employees, investors, customers follow this value system. So if you were to take charge as the CEO of this company, what would your 100-day plan be? What would your 100-day plan be if you wish to take over as the CEO of this company? So Team Bombay Scottish, would you want to go ahead with your response?
Okay, so I'll start. So in the week 1 and 2, we'll understand the values our stakeholders already possess and then come to a consensus and a common agreement about what our values should be on the company's value system. And in week 3 and 4, we'll review the products we have already made and we are making to check if they are serving our values, and then make a framework for product development which helps us support our values. And then in week 5 and 6, we'll run workshops on why you should support our values and how you can contribute in it. In week 7 and 8, we'll make a model of how all the values together work as a system. I think it can be used for decision making and that can sustain the values. And in week 9, we'll communicate with people, with the stakeholders about how they feel about our values. And then in week 10 and 11, they will have internal discussions about our values. And in week 12 and 13, we'll engage our stakeholders into the product research so that they can imbibe those values by working on it. And then in week 14, we'd engage those, and then in day 99 and 100, it brainstorm how an ideal values aligned person's behavior is like.
Okay, thank you, Aryan, for your presentation. Over to, okay, before we take the questions, we missed an important deep thought ritual. We usually ask the teams why they named themselves so. So Team Ratan Tata, would you want to explain why you named yourself Team Ratan Tata?
We all thought that Ratan Tata ran a business. He was an Altruistic CEO, and he also ran a business that was values driven, and he emphasized on values to bring customer loyalty.
Okay, so thank you, Team Ratan Tata. You can now go ahead with your questions.
Okay, so I have a question. Do you think if your CEO follows values, is it enough for you?
Sorry,
Or
I didn't hear your question. Can you repeat?
so if the CEO follows the values, is that enough, or all the stakeholders should follow the values?
In my opinion, since the CEO is a leader of a company, especially in terms of values, he has to put out those values. What he wants his employees, to employ the stakeholders to.
Ishan, could you answer his question? His question is, if the CEO follows the values, is it enough, or would you want the stakeholders also to follow those values? That was his question.
Yes, sir. I'm just coming to it.
Okay, please keep your answers short in a Socratic dialogue. We keep the answers short so we can have a deeper discussion. Yeah.
So, a CEO should set an example for the stakeholders and the employees. So I don't think only the CEO doing it is enough. Definitely, I think everyone should, follow those values.
Thank you, Ishan. Back to you, Team Ratan Tata.
I have a question. So, while you're having this 100-day plan, what kind of employees do you think you would want to hire, since that would change a lot in your 100-day plan, and why?
We would like to hire employees that adhere to the values that we follow. Since of course coordination is essential in a company. Without coordination, I mean, you are basically not a company.
Neha, does it answer your question? Or?
Not completely. I was not able to interpret it.
Do you want to go in with a follow-up question?
Oh, okay. Well, you said you're gonna hire employees with the values of your company. So what are your values for the company going to be like? Like, can you give a few examples? What values do your employees need to match?
I think I'd like to invite my teammates to answer this question. Arjun, would you like to answer it?
The internet was lagging, so could you repeat it?
Basically, Neha, would you like to ask the question again?
Yeah, okay. So I'm asking, you said you'll hire employees with the values that your company follows. So what kind of values does your company follow? Give a few examples. And what are the values that the employee needs to match?
I didn't understand the second.
So what are the values which you would want your employees to follow? I think that's part one of the question in case you want to answer it.
I think we would want our employees to follow the values of thinking from a holistic perspective, and we would, it's my perspective, we would want employees who are quite open-minded and like doing discussions.
Aryan, can you please hold your mic closer? We can't hear you. Just hold it closer. Can you go over the answer again? We couldn't hear it.
So we would like employees who can think from a holistic perspective.
Okay. Neha, does that answer your question? No.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question. Can I ask?
Sure, please.
Yeah, okay. So what if there are employees who do not think from a holistic perspective, but they have enough talent, enough potential to get the whole product or your 100-day plan into a new level, but they don't follow your values. So does that mean you won't hire them?
I would like to answer this question. So if there are employees like that, we, as we included in our pitch, we have some workshops and some other things that will motivate the employees to follow our values. And if they still do not follow, we will hire them. But we would hire them and treat them as normal employees. Maybe they'll follow it later. If they don't, we can either remove them from the company or make changes to the company to accommodate for these kind of employees. Because there won't be just one of them, it would be many of them.
I have a follow-up question.
Sure.
Why should those employees follow your values?
I would like to answer this question. So, as I said before, coordination is important in a company, and of course, if some employees don't follow the values that our company is trying to, our company as a whole is trying to follow, there's not going to be too much of coordination between the employees. So,
And why is the coordination important?
okay, so suppose your company has three departments: an industrial department, an economic department, and suppose a finance department. So now, if the industrial department does something completely different and they don't listen to the economic department, do you think the company as a whole is going to function properly?
No, I don't think so.
So yeah, that's why coordination is important.
How will values
follow
help
up.
you?
Uh,
How will values help you coordinate?
When people follow something similar, like I'll give an example. Suppose people are in the same school, they are more likely to collaborate with each other than people in some completely different school or something like that. When people have something in common, it's easier for them to collaborate.
Okay, a follow-up question to the one where you stated that you would create these workshops for people who don't align with the value system. So, if someone is actually shy and feel that they have to be forced into the value system and don't actually show their true potential, how will you find out if they have that potential or not?
I didn't clearly get your question. Could you repeat?
Yeah. So if someone basically has that potential in them, but feels that they have to, like, because of your value system hiring processes, they feel that they have to be aligned to the value system to work there. What if they're actually shy on the inside and don't present their true potential? And in the case, how will you actually find out if they are worth hiring for your company or not?
We would try to give every employee a chance to prove themselves. So if they're nervous on the inside and they're not able to like give their true potential out, but they are still following our values, then we would still select them for the company. If they don't work well, we'll keep them 1 year, 1.5 years, and then either replace them or remove them completely.
I'm talking just a follow-up question. I'm talking about the people who don't align with the value system but have potential.
If you don't align with the value system and you still don't even show your potential to us, we don't know if you're worth hiring for the company. That will put us in a state of doubt. But as I've already said, we try to give every employee a chance. But in this kind of a case, I don't think it would be like really good to hire someone like this, because nor are they following our values and nor are they showing their potential to us. So we don't know how capable they are of working.
I have a question.
Yeah, Neha, go ahead.
Okay, so I have like two parts of the question. I'll just ask the first one. So you said in week 1 and 2, you're gonna see the values of the stakeholders. And so can you please tell why is that important? And can you elaborate a bit on what do you mean we'll see the values of the stakeholders?
So it's important to see what their values are, so that we can base up on their values, so that whenever we make a decision later, so they are on that agreed side before only.
Okay, and I have a second question, and that is, you said in week 9 you're gonna communicate with your shareholders. So how will your values help you to communicate with them, and like how are you going to use your values to kind of like lure them into buying your product or letting them agree on your product, and how will the information that you got in week 1 and 2 help you in this?
Aryan, would you mind if I take this question? Okay, so basically, the information that we got in weeks 1 and 2, it will help us know what our stakeholders are looking for in the company, and we can use that data to base our company and our products on those values. And since the stakeholders they follow those values, they'll be more likely to buy our products.
And how will your values help you to communicate with them and make them agree on the product?
We are we are going to communicate with our stakeholders based on their values. Are you talking about our values, in the sense
Yeah, since your company will be based on your values, your employees will be based on your values. So when you're communicating about the product with the shareholders, how will you use your values, as any advantage or whatever? How are you going to use your values in this meeting with the shareholders in week 9?
The company will be based off of a lot of values from the stakeholders as well. Of course, we can't have it completely based off of the values from the stakeholders only, but most of the values will come from the stakeholders. So while our values might be different, I think since it's based a lot on stakeholders, I think they will be willing to buy it.
Wait, are they your values or the stakeholders' values which you're talking?
Yeah, that was a question.
So I'm saying that our company is based off of the stakeholders' values and our values. Now, of course, it can't only be based off of the stakeholders' values. But so if let's say, for example, our value is open-mindedness, and the stakeholders' value is maybe integrity. Now, open-mindedness and integrity are two different things, and of course, we can't merge them together. So I think in that case, since our company is also based off of the stakeholders' values, they might be willing to buy our product, since we also have some of their values in our company.
But what if they don't?
Okay, so I'll have to cut this discussion here. I'm sure this was interesting, but in the interest of time, I'll have to cut it. So We request the jurors to move to the jury room so we could help you with the scoring process.
Yeah, we can move to the jury room. And like
Suraj, Rohan, and Anil, if you could move to the jury room, we're happy to help you with the scoring process.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while the jurors are scoring, any reflections? What was going on in your mind while you were going through this drill?
I think this is a very, and probably one of the most interesting rounds of all the Socratic dialogues I've gone to. I like the answers and the follow-up questions. Like there was a very long thread as well. So yeah, it was really interesting.
Sripanna, you would also want to move to the jury room because there are quite a few jurors.
Yeah.
And just in case, you may take them to a separate breakout room if needed. So that because we have 3 of the jurors. Yeah, Satya, please go ahead, and Neha can go in next. Yeah.
I think in this discussion, I made a lot of connections. There are like other things that I got from other dialogues, and I related them to a few things here. The threads were very long. Instead of making just like one thread, we made an entire web, and there are new questions coming in every.
Can you keep your mic closer? I think your voice is cracking. So you said you don't have threads, you have a web because you made so many connections, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Neha, go ahead, and then Arav and Ishan can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so this round was very interesting. So like Satya said, we made quite a lot of connections. The same way, seeing the 100-day plan sorted out, it is very well sorted out. But then again, inside that 100-day plan, connecting values with shareholders and differentiating how we need to come up on that values, and seeing how the whole product and employees will be based upon those values, and those values again being based upon shareholders. There was like a huge web there as well. So it was very nice exploring that web.
Thank you, Neha. Yeah, Arav.
Yeah, I'd say this discussion about everything was kind of interesting, but also kind of difficult to keep up with. I think I just got lost in the middle somewhere, and I had to catch up later. But it was still very fun being involved in it.
Okay. Yeah, Ishan.
Sir, I think that this is a very informative, thing that we are doing. It's it's a very serious debate. I don't think there's too much fun involved in it. But at the same time, I think it's very informative, and it's going to also help us, in the future career.
Ishan, it's actually a lot of fun. I think as the event unfolds, you'll see the fun dimension of it. Yeah, Aryan.
And sir, and I look forward to Team Ratan Tata's presentation and our debate on that.
It's not a debate, Ishan. It's a dialogue. The idea is to expand our understanding of the topic. The idea is not to contradict each other, but to expand our understanding. Yeah, but I'm glad you're looking forward to their presentation. Yeah, Aryan, go ahead.
Like while they were questioning it, I think I felt the importance of in that whole system seeing the root of thought of where everything is coming from, because I was confused about the stakeholders and our values. So aren't is thinking that aren't the stakeholders' values are based off our values based off stakeholders.
Okay. Neha, you had something else also to say?
No, sir, I just forgot to lower my hands.
Sir, I also had another doubt.
Sure.
I actually have to go out at like 8:35. So will it be over by 8:30?
Probably, but it might spill over. Yeah. So, Team Ratan Tata, you can move back to the buffer room, and you could invite Team Geetanjali here. Yeah. So Satya, you could ask Team Geetanjali to move here for the next round.
Sir, just I'll have to go out at 8:35. So can you please try and limit it by?
Yeah, sure, Ishan. You can drop off, and this is streaming live.
Okay, sir.
So we'll now be taking some questions from Team Geetanjali.
Yes.
Once the jurors are back. So Avigna, ready with some questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the jurors will be back in some time. Once the jurors are back, you guys can go ahead with your questions. But until then, if you have some reflections and observations, something which you saw during the dialogue, we're happy to hear you.
Hello, sir.
Hi Hansika, hi Ridhima, please switch on your videos. So in case, the jurors will be back in some time. You can ask your questions once the jurors are back. But until then, if you have some observations or reflections based on what the team spoke, we're happy to hear that. Anything which you observed.
I observed Bombay Scottish School answering a few questions, and I learned a lot new points which were different from what we were told. So I observed a few.
Okay. Hansika or Ridhima, you have any observations, anything which you observed while the dialogue was on?
No.
So one very important thing in a dialogue is to make observations. So there's a lot of potential for us to learn, a lot of opportunities for us to learn if we can make those observations. Because in a dialogue, what happens is different people have different styles of questioning. Different people have different styles of questioning, and we can pick up those styles of questioning through observation. Yeah, and I think the jurors are back, and we can, we'll start our second round. Doyle, you may want to help.
Yeah.
I think Suraj is having some challenges in moving to the main room.
Okay. Just a moment.
He's in team 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's here. Yeah. So yeah, over to you, Team Geetanjali School. You can go ahead with your questions.
So the first question, does the CEO work for the benefits of for the shareholders?
The CEO works for the benefits of the company, and then in turn the benefits of the shareholders as well.
Okay, next question. Does your company's philosophy attract customers, investors, or employees?
In Geetanjali School, would you have any questions based on what all they presented so far? In case you guys have been listening to the discussion so far, would you have any questions based on the discussion?
I mean, I understood what they said, but could you find any progress? Did you find any progress in the, how do you feel? Do you feel that you found the profit in your company once you got the 100-day plan?
The progress in the company would be that we have a lot more advertisement over the world, because we've done marketing through our shareholders, and we've also tried to expand and kind of explain our values to all our employees. So the company would be much more coordinated within its employees, and it would be much easier to coordinate between tasks, and that would make jobs more.
Okay, next question. Does your company's philosophy attract investors or customers or employees?
I think it does, because they want to get those values imbibed in them.
Can you tell me why you think so? I mean, what is your philosophy?
Okay, so our philosophy is getting in holistic understanding, and why we think that they would want it because we are working on like a problem statement. That's why we build our company. So as they have a problem, they want a solution, so they want to imbibe the values.
Okay.
Yeah. So this concludes round 2. We request the jurors to move to the jury room so we could help you with the scoring process. But if you got a hang of the format, you could do it here as well. But in case you need help, you can move to the jury room. Doyle, I request you to move to the jury room so you could help the jurors.
Yes. We can all move to the jury room.
Aryan, any observations you have around this round?
I think I need to discover more about the meaning of philosophy because I was confused. Yes, so I first thought that philosophy is on the values, art and values are just about good and bad, but now I think that it's a little related to thinking back from the truth.
Okay. Yeah, Ishan.
To like answer Aryan's question, I know it's quite funny that I'm answering my own team's question, but philosophy is basically a kind of theory that you practice through which you guide your company. Like for example, in this case, we have a value-driven philosophy. We guide our company through values. If that answers your question.
Can I ask a question?
1 minute, 1 minute. Aryan, can you repeat your question again?
Okay, so my question was that is philosophy about seeing the rational part and from that problem statement point of view, or is it just about seeing the good and bad?
It's basically neither. It's really not related to values. It's more of how how you guide your company. What what are the goals of your company. That's the philosophy of your company.
Ishan, I think it will help a lot if there's a little openness. So what Aryan is trying to do with this question is he's trying to introspect on his own understanding of philosophy. So rigidity doesn't help us much. So I think it'll be helpful if you can think of various ways around the same thing, right? So philosophy can guide you in terms of your own value system, in terms of deciding what is right, what is wrong as well, and the various schools of thought as well. Right? Okay. Now I think.
Sir, can I add a question? Sir, can I add a question?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, sir. My question is that why do stakeholders and the employees have to work in coordination?
Yeah. So Ridhima, this question was asked, and I believe Arav had answered this question. Am I right, Arav? You had taken this question, right?
So I think the question had framed differently. I don't clearly remember what that question was, but I'm pretty sure a similar question was asked.
Thanks,
but I think Ishan answered about the coordination.
Okay, coordination question is answered by Ishan. Okay, great. So we're now happy to take questions from the jurors. Yeah, Rohan, please go ahead with your question.
So yeah, an interesting discussion, I must say. I have 2 questions. Okay.
Rohan, you can go one after the other.
The first question is, what do you guys think is the end objective of any organization?
Team Bombay Scottish.
So I think the end object of any organization is you once you reach a point where you're making sufficient money, you can pay salary to everyone and you have quite a lot of extra. I think if I think you should really donate to charity. I think that's something that a lot of organizations miss. Once you have a lot of overflow money that's coming to you, you should donate to charity, and I think you can keep this going until
Ishan, could you answer the question? His question is, what is the objective of any organization?
Okay, so I think it's to reach a point where you can sufficiently you are self-reliant on your company. and you can earn enough money to pay salaries to everyone, and reward the stakeholders for their support.
If we can keep our responses short to have the spirit of the dialogue, less speeches and more short responses. Over to you, Rohan, in case you have a follow-up question to that.
So do you mean to say that the end objective of an organization is to make money? Or do you mean to say you have to choose between these two statements? Do you mean to say that the end objective of an organization is to make money? Or do you mean to say that the end objective of an organization is to create value for its stakeholders? That would include shareholders, employees, everybody.
Yeah, Arav, you want to take that? Yeah.
What I'd like to say about this that I think the end goal of an organization would probably be to contribute to the world in a way that in a positive way. So, for example, like Ishan said, we could donate to charity if we have extra money. We're contributing to the general state of living in India to those who are not as privileged as we are. So I think that's the end goal, to make an effect on the world.
Okay. And the next question that I have is, what do you guys think are value systems? Do they come naturally to you, or can they be changed over a period of time?
I think value systems are like, as the name suggests, things that our company values in employees, or it's a certain kind of thinking that our company likes. They can also naturally come to us. If, for example, there's a kind of person who thinks in a certain way, and that person happened to create the company, then it just came to the company naturally. But it can also be changed over time. If you want to make a certain type of thought process throughout the employees of the company, it can definitely be changed like manually, but it mostly comes naturally.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Rohan. In case Anil or Suraj have questions.
I have a question. It is asked in a way already, but what I wonder, what is the value system based on originally? So where does it come from, and why you use that as a value system? And also, what I would like to know, as we all know, things are changing. We are living in a fast, rapid changing world. So how adaptable is the value system? In other words, how easy do you change your value system?
Yeah. There were 3 questions there, Bombay Scottish, in case you want to take them.
Arav, would you like to take it?
Could you repeat the first question you asked? I couldn't get that.
The first question. Yes, the first question is what your value-based system. Where is it based on originally? Where does it come from?
I guess a value system comes from just the natural thought of a person to keep a company that could, in the end, keep an impact on the world and actually be of some use. So our value could be something like not always doing the right thing, like not going into some kind of a scam. Like, for example, someone accuses us of something we didn't do, and they tell us to pay a bribe. We would not pay that bribe. We would fight for our we would fight for what we did right. Assuming that the justice will come to us naturally. I think our values would be to just do the right thing and not involve in the wrong thing.
Right. Sir, I would like to add a question to this, sir.
We have one question to take in the juror round. We're running a little short of time, but during the break, we'll take the question. Okay. Yes, Suraj, I believe you had a question. We'd love to take that.
Yeah. Since we're talking about values, I just wanted to know from you all, what do you think is the difference between a company that is value-driven and a company that is not so value-driven? I want to know from you all, and if you all have any example also, you all must tell me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Arav, I think you went in first, and then Ishan can go. Yeah.
I think a company that's value driven, like, for example, Ishan a few minutes back gave us an example of a school. Like, 2 people from the same school will have less difficulty, cooperating rather than compared to people from two different schools, because the people study and spend time in the same kind of environment. It's kind of like that. If your company is a value driven company, your values kind of make it much easier to cooperate with each other. While a non-value driven company, you could still have coordination, but it won't be as much because you aren't really thinking the same thing, you aren't following the same rules. You kind of are, but in this case, like values are the rules, and that company doesn't have any values.
I think we got your response. Suraj, would you have a follow-up question to that? Okay, so we'll have to close this in the interest.
No, this is fine. Yeah, I'm good.
We'll close this now in the interest of time. We request the jurors to score the jury round. And Team Geetanjali, you can move back to the buffer room. And Sriparna, I request you to invite Team Ratan Tata back main stage.
Yeah. Jury, if you would like to move to the jury room, I would assist you.
Does Gitanjali need to go to the buffer room?
Yes, but I believe you had a question, right? You can ask a question and then move.
Okay. How do you ensure that how do you ensure as a CEO that everything in the company is going as per your strategy?
Okay.
In these kind of cases, to make sure everything is going correctly, we take help from the other heads working in the company. Like, for example, we have the CPO and the CXO. They can also manage everything going on correctly. And as a CEO, the main job of the CEO would be to just kind of keep watch over the CXOs and the other members. I think Ishan has something to add on to my answer, so I'll let him.
Yeah, so as most companies are structured, to make sure that employees also follow our values. First of all, we'll have workshops, workshops that encourage the values of that our company is trying to impart into the world. And we'll also have first at the first level, of course, we'll have employees, then the manager of the employees, and the manager of the managers, and all of them will eventually report to the CEO. So in that way, if someone doesn't follow our values, then we can see what to do with them, and that's how we enforce our values.
Thank you, Ishan. So I think the jurors are back. So we'll start the second part of today's program. This will be an accelerated round, Team Ratan Tata. So we'll be taking this a little faster now. So Team Ratan Tata, are you ready to go ahead with your response to question for discussion 2?
Yes.
Could you explain question for discussion and then go ahead with your answer?
So the question for discussion is, if you are the CEO of a values-driven company and you are conducting your first annual general meeting of shareholders, if your company earned a revenue of $200 million with a profit of $20 million, and if you foresee a growth of 20% the next year, what would you speak in the annual general meeting? Would this be how an altruistic CEO would speak? What all dimensions would you bring in?
Okay, we are eagerly waiting for you, Team Sir Ratan Tata. Go ahead.
Okay, so our company is a gaming company that creates games and produces games, and our company is a values-driven company. In the annual general meeting, we will talk about the $200 million revenue we earned, the $20 million profit that we got, and how we foresee the 20% growth next year and how we want to get that growth. We'll also discuss about the culture that we created, the values and principles that we follow and how we implemented them. And we'll try to take feedback from the shareholders to make it better so that we can get more values and principles and more people to follow them. We would also bring in the perspectives of the users and employees of how they feel, so we can show the entire picture to everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Satya, for a very short and packed presentation. Yeah, Ishan, you can go ahead with your question.
So you said that you would take feedback of stakeholders and customers. what if the stakeholders criticize one of the core values of your company? Will you be willing to change the core value depending if there's a majority of negative feedback?
I mean, the core value of the company is set by the shareholders. So if they really want to change it, and if it doesn't affect our market too much, and we are able to keep up our sales, then we will go with it. And if you don't lose loyal customers, but if we are going to have big losses, then we won't do it.
And I guess because it's one of the core values of the company, and shareholders we have to also take the feedback of the shareholders. We would try to improve that core value instead of changing it exactly to how the shareholders want to. So that's why we'll be taking their feedback as well.
We'll take the next question. Yeah.
Okay.
You have a follow-up question to that, Team Bombay Scottish?
So you told that if the shareholder's suggestion makes a big change to the market, then you, so did you say that you'll not take it? Means
if it affects us negatively in the market and makes us lose the customers, we won't go with it.
We won't like completely change the whole the core value.
And what if the shareholders think in a way that later it would help your market? So would you think about that, or would you be determined on your
first of all, we have to think upon that, since we should also look for the satisfaction of the shareholders. But after thinking upon it and asking a lot of questions, and if we still come to a conclusion that it will affect us negatively and it won't give us much of a change positively, so then we would try to explain it to the shareholders, and we would try to use our current values, and we will show how this is currently helping us, and it would be more better for the company and for them. If we keep the same value instead of changing it, and we will try to look for a better value if they really want to change it, and we'll try to improve it instead of completely changing it towards what they want to.
How would you tell the shareholders that their suggestion is wrong?
We'll try to show them data of how the market is and like our assumptions, not exactly assumptions, but how our user base would change and how it would negatively affect us if we change the core value.
Yeah, Ishan.
So you mentioned, the core values of your company. Can you give me some examples, of what core values you might follow?
Okay, so value, there's a few values that we want to follow. One would be to respect all the shareholders and give a good experience to all the shareholders and the customers. We will also do everything the legal way. There won't be any corruption or anything like that. We'll try to create a bond with all of the customers and try to make them loyal. And we'll also collaborate and make all the people in our company work together.
And one more thing, we will also try we'll try our best to keep a good coordination and cooperation between the employees and the CEO as well as the customers. And I think one of the other main things are we're going to not trying to focus mainly on the prices or the market or the shareholders and how it's going to benefit the shareholders, but we will also try to give our best to how it will benefit our
Neema,
clients.
I request you to keep your responses short keep your
yes,
responses
okay.
short in spirit of a dialogue. We'll have to close this round here in the interest of time. We request Team Bombay Scottish to go back to the buffer room. The jurors can move to the jury room in case you want some help with the scoring process. Doyle, I request you to move to the jury room to help the jurors there. Yeah. Team Bombay Scottish, you could head back to the buffer room. Sriparna, you could invite Team Janapriya School main stage.
Yeah. Okay, this round was really fast.
What?
This round was so fast. Like I was expecting to respond to something. The round ended so fast.
Also, I think we came much more prepared this time. We didn't make up too many answers on this part.
Yeah, I guess all the points that we needed were already in the QFD that we prepared, and and whatever we had to make up also, we already made them up in the selection trial. So there was nothing else to really focus on.
Yeah, we had like we presented like the main half of our QFD. The other half, like we used to answer.
So we did the time management well as well. We got that as a feedback from Umang sir in our selection trial. So I guess we worked on it a bit better than before.
Yeah.
Okay. Ojaswita, please switch on your video. So Aditya, any observations you made in the dialogue so far which you wish to share with us here?
Yes, sir. When I was seeing the live stream, I saw many interesting questions in the dialogue.
Okay. Ojaswita, Suraj, any interesting observations you saw
Sir, I asked many students asking different questions that were also challenging, and how students were trying to answer them.
Okay.
By thinking out of the box.
Like anything specifically you saw about the kind of questions and the kind of answers, anything you saw
Yeah,
there?
sir, they were actually kind of twisting, sir, and they were complicated to answer, sir.
Okay. But did you see how what were the ways of thinking to ask the questions? See, if we can analyze the kinds of questions, we also end up asking those kind of questions. When we listen to questions carefully, right? When we listen to questions carefully, we can learn that style of questioning. Okay. So you guys have some, the jurors are back. Yeah, all three jurors are back. You guys have some questions? Go ahead.
So can I?
Yeah.
If the employees are not following the core value system of a company, as a CEO, what are the steps that you will take to make the employees again to follow that?
Ojaswita, your questions have to be around their presentation. So their presentation was how they would, how Satya would address the annual general meeting of shareholders, right? So he said he would tell them about their profits, their growth, and he would try to take suggestions, and he would use those suggestions to improve the company. That was his presentation. So based on his presentation, you guys can ask questions.
Okay, sir. So if let's take if the shareholders are not loyal to you and they have lots of questions against you, and that leads to loss of the company, how will you again regrowth your company?
A question to the question. Since they are kind of like the owners of the company, why would they? Wouldn't we have to be loyal to them, not they having to be loyal to us?
So, for example, for few months, your products are not very famous among the people. At that point of time, you have a lot of loss. How will you again regrowth your company?
Well, we will try to take a lot of feedback, and we will have few meetings, and then from the feedback we'll try to improve the game, and but we will game or whatever product, but we will still not remove the core values that we want to show through the game, or the main our main message from the game or product.
And we'll also analyze, and we'll also you can go ahead.
Okay. So our company is also mainly focused on the customers. So we will we always try to get a special bond with our customers so that we can get a loyal connection, and with that we can get better and more like specialized feedback from our customers, and we will also take the feedback of the shareholders so that we can kind of use it to come to a final solution, or we won't take out our core values, but we will come to a final conclusion with the feedback so that we can get a final improvement on our.
Thank you, Nisha. So Aditya or Suraj, would you have any questions?
Yeah, sir, I have. So now your company is perfect. Just imagine you have your loyal customers and your investors. You and even your employees are loyal, and almost your company is almost perfect. But there is a company which wants you to go down for their own benefits, like they are type of a bad company. What would you do in that situation?
We'll try to point out what is our value system and how our value system is good, while we also try to point out their value system to show any flaws that are there in their value system to give the effect that they're a bad company while we are a good company.
And I don't think we would stop any of our work or any of our growth to prove out exactly why we are better than that company, but instead we would try to still stay together and follow the system that we have created, and still work on making our products and everything better, and make our company better, and we'll still stay up with the market and the trend to improve our values and our products.
Thank you, Neha, for the response. I'll have to close this round here, but we will take the questions of Aditya and Suraj. We'll listen to your questions, although the team wouldn't be scored. We request the jurors to move to the jury room, and after this, we'll be having the final round of today, the jury round for team 2. Yes, Suraj and Aditya, you can go ahead with your questions. We're happy to hear your questions. Yeah.
Yeah, sir. Now, as I said that they are gonna continue, they will like continue to support their company and go through all those. But the company is the company which is bad wants you to go down, and it is like spreading fake news to decrease your loyal investors and your means your customers. So what would you do in that situation if you somehow get in that situation?
Okay, Aditya, you can go ahead with your question too.
Yes, sir. I had a question that if you have very less shareholders, what will you do in that situation to increase your shareholders?
I would like to answer Aditya's question. We'll go to investors and we'll show them our value system, and those investors who are aligning with our value system, we'll try to get them to invest in our company.
And I think we would also try to show how our values and how our data that our company has, and how our products can actually cause a huge revolution in the market and the economy as well. So it is better if even if they invest or buy our shares.
Okay. Looks like the jurors are back, so we're ready to start the jury round. In case one of you has a question, Anil, Rohan, or Suraj, please go ahead.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So guys, let's say you didn't have a profit and you had a loss. This is Suraj, by the way. You guys didn't have a profit and you had a loss. As a CEO, will you defend your performance and say that maybe the value system was flawed? It could be, and give a reason on that. Or would you defend your value system and say no, your performance was at stake? And if that would be the case, as a CEO, what space would you take?
Rishank, would you want to take this? He hasn't spoken much, so maybe we'll give him the chance. Yeah, Rishank.
So I think we would defend our value system and rather point out what we could improve on, because in our company we are not going to be like changing our core value system, but we'll rather be focusing on our loyal customers and our shareholders, that we can seek their opinion and work on improving the sales or or how the company is. So in this situation, we'd rather defend us.
Okay, and what? Yeah,
That's the idea.
please.
Suraj, you can go ahead with your follow-up question.
Yeah, and what if you genuinely think that the value system is flawed? So this is yeah. As a CEO, what will you say?
Prashant, want to take that?
I'm just thinking.
Okay, Neha or Satya want to take that?
Yeah, I just want to ask, could you repeat the question? You're asking who thinks is the value system?
You think your value system is flawed?
Okay, so I first of all, by connecting the first and the second question, I think if we think the value system is flawed because a performance was not well enough, then I think we would want to recheck both the value system and the performance and find a way to make it better. So if we think our value system is flawed, then I think we need to analyze our value system once again, but to prove if the value system is flawed or not. And if we do think then that the value system is flawed and we find out, then we need to improve it but not change it completely.
Okay.
Right. Can I elaborate on
Suraj,
that?
would you have a follow-up question for that?
Sir, my last question or my question for the question survey.
Yeah, we'll take that in a while, Suraj.
So can I just elaborate on that?
We'll just ask the juror if he has a follow-up question, and I'll come back to you. Suraj, would you have a follow-up question?
Okay, sir. So I was.
I think we both are Suraj, so he's getting confused.
Yeah. Suraj will listen to your question in a while. I was just talking to the juror, Mr. Suraj Juneja. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm getting what y'all have said, but as a CEO, now the responsibility lies in your hands of the company. So what I'm trying to say is that if the value system is flawed, and if you think that my value system is flawed, will you admit it that day and say that yes, we need to change our value system, or will you say no, the value system is fine and everything is good, and you probably will think that it may come on me, and people might point fingers at me because of the performance and such, because as a CEO of the company, you are on an edge all the time. So that is why there's a personal thing that you need to think, that if you say no, the value system is fine, I have flawed, maybe you won't be the CEO after that. So a value system of a company is there. A value system of an individual is again different. So if someone has really given this a thought, I just want your answer, that you as an individual, what will you stick for?
Can I answer this question?
Sure.
Okay, so I think if I would be an altruistic CEO right there, and if I would think like one, then I would point out that my value system is flawed if I think it is, because pointing out that my value system is flawed and improving the value system will actually give better growth for the company and benefit the customers and the shareholders more. But being a selfless CEO there, it's more important to think about the company and the users more than your job. So if in the whole circuit dialogue being about that, I think I would point out and I would try to improve the value system, and by improving it, maybe I will be able to save my job as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah, Rohan or Anil, in case you have questions.
I have a quick question. How do you measure success?
In this case, our unit of measurement would be the amount of profit we earn, the amount of customers we reach, and also are we sustainable?
Yeah,
and the feedback.
And the amount of customers we are able to satisfy.
And how do you measure that over time? Because success in 1 year, and then how do you see it happening moving forward? So that's mine. So when I say how do you measure success also tied to the value system, right?
So we'll probably measure it like month by month, what the improvements or the losses have been, so that we can actually see our success. So for example, like how many people on a daily basis, I mean on a monthly basis, have been using our gaming software. So in the first month, we'll compare that with the next month, so that we can see our losses. Then we can come to then we can start analyzing. Then we can move on and check if we have a profit. So so basically this can be like a system for us.
And also, I think to measure the success over time, we need to keep our values and our principles in mind. I think that will also be a base for measuring our success over a long period of time.
So Rohan, we're happy to take your question.
Okay. So it's probably more like a follow-up question to both Suraj's question as well as Anil's question. Uh, so you're an altruistic CEO, and you understand that probably maybe the value system, either the value system is flawed or maybe your understanding of the value system is flawed. Uh, Admitting and changing it, or maybe listening to it at that point of time and giving it a thought and changing it at the back end so that does not create a lot of hue and cry. What would you prefer? I mean,
I
you're
would
listening to the shareholder, but then maybe you're giving it a thought again and changing it at the back end so that it comes in later, or you would admit it then and there and then want to change it. How would you go about it?
I would do some.
Sorry, Satya, just a minute. Mr. Suraj has a hard stop and we have to leave. So we'd like to take his observations about the program so far before taking Satya's response.
Yes, I was just going to raise my hand that I need to leave, but thank you so much for having me here. I think it's a great program, and it's such a delight to see students at grade 7, grade 8, and this grade speaking like this and speaking like CEOs, using these terms and terminologies. That really fascinates me, and I think they really have a cut above the other students, I'm sure, who are not speaking this language already. And I'm very, very happy that I got to see that, and hope to see much more from you all, and all the best to Deep Thought, and all the best to all of you, all you students and the jury. And really, thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you, Suraj.
And great work, Tarun. I'm more power to you. I hope the next time we have a much bigger session, I can see thousands of students enrolling for this. So soon I'm sure we'll be there.
Thanks a lot for the warm words, Suraj. Looking forward.
All right.
Yeah, Satya, over to you for your response.
Yeah, so we would do something in the middle of that. We would give it a thought, but we would also take other people's perspectives so that it doesn't create that much of a big problem when we directly go and announce that our value system is flawed. So people don't get scared and they can prepare for that change.
Yeah, I was about to say the exact same thing. I think we would first try to analyze whatever, and we would try to look at it from the backhand, and we would try to get the proper data. But then once we actually found the proper answer, proper result, then we would let it out and we would admit it on spot. So, we prove that we can make the value system better if it is flawed. But then we also don't want to keep it in for so long. So, there's a chance that we can make it better sooner.
How would you prove it? Okay, tell me this. What are more important to an altruistic CEO or to a CEO for that matter? Forthrightness or diplomacy?
Probably we'll have to break the two words for them. So as a CEO, would you try to say everything in a very frank manner as it is? Or would you try to be a little diplomatic in the sense that you try to work in a way that you bring everyone together, and maybe sometimes even if you disagree, you try to work in a way that you carry everyone together? So which format suits a CEO?
I think again it needs to be somewhere in between, because it can't always be that you're trying to pull everyone together and you're looking at the coordination a lot, but sometimes you need to be frank, and you need to be frank enough so that you can get the work done on the spot. And being frank enough will actually sometimes help to coordinate more. So I think it needs to again be somewhere in between.
Nice, good. And I have one more question. What is the measure of success? Like Anil was asking, what is the measure of success? I will give you two options. What you are a value-driven company, okay? You're sitting in your AGM discussing profits and stuff. What would be your measure of success? Customer retention or new customer acquisition? What would be your true measure of success? If you want me to explain a little bit, customer retention would be retaining the customers who have existed in the past, who have not migrated from your platform to elsewhere. New customer acquisition would be you have made new customers. So when you're presenting to your stakeholders, you'll say that X amount of profit, this amount of profit from the existing customers, and this amount of profits from the new customers that we acquired in this year. And answer this question keeping in mind that you're a value driven organization as well. So what would be a much better measure of success? Acquiring new customer or retaining the old ones?
Yeah, Vrisha.
I think in my opinion, should be customer retention, because customer retention, like, I mean, changes are going on over the months, and customer retention is more important, as it's the customers who have already existed can like actually show their feelings compared to new customers who have like just arrived. So firstly, it also shows if they're loyal. Secondly, it also shows if they stand with the company at where it is like in the present, or if they don't stand with the company.
I would
I'll
like
really
to
have
add
to cut
something
this.
else.
I'll really have to cut this. We've overshot by 17 minutes now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we didn't realize. So we'd love to take the jury's remarks about the program. If Rohan or Anil wants to go ahead.
Yeah. So let me start. First of all, this actually, I mean, frankly speaking, I did not expect such nice responses and such nice dialogue coming in from the kind of introduction that was given by the kids. It's my bad. I underestimated that, and really, it's an eye opener for me. I would really congratulate you guys on the work that you guys have done together on this. Fantastic, I must say. You know, people have capabilities. You can develop capabilities over a period of time, but mindset is something that needs to be developed right from the very beginning. And what you guys are probably trying to do is changing the mindset, nurturing that mindset right from the beginning. That's going to really, I must say, that's really going to affect the society in a very positive manner. So great job. And guys, team Ratan Tata as well as team Bombay Scottish, guys have done a phenomenal job, I must say. The ease and the confidence with which you were answering, and the second team which we were interacting with right now, the team Ratan Tata, I must say, they were doing a good job. They stuck to the positions that they took, and they defended it. They defended it quite well. So all in all, fantastic session. And would love to see more of this. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Yes, what I would like to say, first of all, I would like to congratulate Deep Thought for second year anniversary, because that's my understanding. So happy birthday to all of you guys. Some of you I saw the 1 year ago maybe in the session, so it was really nice to be back. What I also like to see is that everybody was actively involved. So I think this means that no matter what the answer was or what the question was, the way that I saw everybody being interactive in this format shows me also that there is definitely a need, for critical thinking, going for a subject that you are maybe not a subject matter expert in, but still trying to come up with arguments with good questions, with good explanation. So I think it's a great format. Again, I was happy to be here. And again, I wish you guys much more years to come, obviously. Thank you.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you all the students for joining us. For those of you who are joining us live on YouTube, this Saturday we have the Young CSO Dialogue coming up, where students will be picking up perspectives on sales. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel to get updates about this dialogue on Saturday. Once again, thank you everyone for joining us.